Alright, place your bets. How many times do I die during my first Bloodmoon on For the Worthy Master Mode? Welcome back to the second episode of my Terraria For the Worthy Master Mode playthrough series. In the first episode, we barely scratched the surface of exploring the surface, but had some pretty good success mining below my starter home and managed to obtain a platinum pickaxe. But will our luck hold out, and how far will we progress today? Let's find out. Most of the first episode was spent in the caves below the middle of the world. My life is at 180, well above the threshold needed for a Bloodmoon to occur, so my first priority today is to set up an expanded fighting arena complete with a volcano lava trap. So right out of the gate, I head to the west of my starter home and start clearing the trees and flattening the land. The iron pickaxe I had been using had a speed booster on it, but I wasn't sure if the platinum one I just made would be faster or not. So I go ahead and try them both out tunneling through a small hill, and looks like the iron one is faster, so that's what we'll be using for the time being. Oh, and hey, it looks like my platinum broadsword is doing okay against slimes. Or not. That's what, death number 11? But who's counting? So back at the house, I make a better hammer, which will speed up some of my construction projects planned for today. I like to make my volcano traps out of stone brick, so I craft up a bunch. I'm also a little low on wood, so I chop down the trees that have grown near the house. Bah, these bombs dropping from trees really mess with my OCD. Fun fact, back when I used to play Minecraft, whenever a creeper would blow up, I always had to fill in the crater, and this is just giving me flashbacks. But now it's time to build my volcano trap. I like to make the base about 10 blocks wide. I'll finish the sides in a bit. It's almost night and I'm worried a Bloodmoon is going to hit me just before I'm ready for it. Off to the left, I make an access tunnel. I'll be putting my base in the hills a bit further to the west and want to be able to get to the volcano in a pinch if needed. Looks like I didn't get a Bloodmoon, but there's still plenty of zombies making the surface pretty dangerous. Well, let's light them up. Haha, eat blazing fiery death, zombies. I always find this highly satisfying, wahaha. So I spend the night clearing out the natural walls of the tunnel. I'll need to fill it with player crafted walls so that monsters won't be able to spawn in my safe house down here. It's a pretty decent moneymaker too. Time to place walls of my own, add some light and a platform so I can just stand here and gather the loot. I don't want to spend all night in the tunnel though, so I head off to the west cave to go spelunking for a bit. Heading into new territory, I find a glowing mushroom biome. These are reputed to be a lot bigger on For the Worthy. I almost die from a fall that was bigger than I thought it would be, but then a little deeper get murdered by a poison dart. Death number 12. It's daytime up top and I've got several flowers ready for harvest. I then head out to finish my volcano. I build this one 8 blocks high, which should be high enough that mobs can't jump out, and put a ledge on the inside walls to help keep them in. Then I smooth the sides and this trap is done. Once I get the mechanic, I can add dart traps, and later in hard mode it can further be expanded with spear and spiky ball traps. But for now, this will work nicely for Bloodmoons and even Goblin Invasions. Oh hey, a slime gifted me with a mining potion, nice! Down in the tunnel, I fill in the walls, but run out and... Hey, the slimes are dropping all sorts of great stuff, my first Spelunker potion! Back at the house, I decide to set up a basic alchemy lab to see what else I can make. Looks like the pond to the west is my nearest water source, so I head over to make some water bottles. I pause to put some doors on my volcano room, and looks like I can't make very much yet. Oh well. I decide to put in a heavy workbench, then make a trapdoor for going down to the safe house tunnel. I grab some more stone brick, then replace the dirt for the access tunnel to make things look nice. The tunnel down here will be a good place to put banners for anything that I might be fighting in this area, such as pirates and goblin invasions. Next up, I decide to put a fighting arena platform over the area. I want it to be plenty high so that mobs won't be able to jump up from the top of the volcano, and go with an 18 block height, which I can reach with my grappling hook from the ground. This one will connect over to the arena I set up last episode. It doesn't line up perfectly, but I'll fix that later. I'll need a wide arena for the Eye of Cthulhu, so this is a good start. On the left side of the tunnel, I'll make another foxhole going down and... Oh, look at that! Bloodmoon! Talk about good timing! So hopefully you placed your bet from the intro, but sorry to break it to you, no deaths for me. I wall up the side and head to the safe room and am perfectly safe here for the whole night. In fact, I'm so confident in this setup I basically go AFK and make myself a coffee. So fast forward it is. I get back to my computer just after dawn arrives and then check out the loot. Ooh, a shark tooth necklace, very nice. I was hoping for a money trough, but oh well. Back at the house I decide to stock up on grenades as they'll be very useful when I get a Goblin Invasion, though I don't yet have enough life for that to happen. I also remember that I've got an abundance of emeralds and make a longer grappling hook, as well as a new emerald staff and get a strong modifier. Yep, definitely faster and more base damage too. Next up is heading down to the East Cave to pop my mining and Spelunker potions. I'm hoping to find some good loot in the 5 minutes of Spelunker power and pretty early on find a heart crystal in some water I otherwise wouldn't have ever noticed, along with a money bag and a little bit of platinum. The Spelunker potion is really amazing for finding treasures that otherwise would have been hidden, but since I only have a few minutes I try to focus only on getting tungsten, platinum, and heart crystals. A second life crystal is found and below that more platinum. Unfortunately, one of those stupid giant worms stops by. I really don't want to die with the Spelunker buff on, but at the same time this will really slow me down. Finally it's dead and another one shows up. Damn. So I decide to just run away and hope it doesn't follow me as I head deeper. I probably shouldn't have bothered with this money pile on top of copper. There's a lot of lava down here, so I'm being cautious, and cautious is unfortunately slow. But I ultimately decide to go the other direction, and before I can find much of anything else, my Spelunker buff is gone. But I do see the glowing of a ruby gem tree, so I head down there to get it. On the edge of the other side of the glowing mushroom biome I found earlier is a large patch of topaz, but I fail to notice a trap and get my face torn off. Death number 13. Ouch, an 8 gold dropped. Gonna have to get that back. Up at base, I smelt my ore and see what I can craft. I go ahead and make a platinum chest piece, but don't have enough to make much of anything else. Wow, this looks terrible. I'm not quite ready to risk Goblin Invasions or Eye of Cthulhu attacks yet, so I turn one life crystal into a heart lantern and save the other one for later. I then remember to buy a piggy bank for my inventory so I can save money when I'm away from home. Next, I craft some health potions, though I could have just bought them from the merchant. I also make some sticky bombs. At some point, I plan to find my evil biome and go smash an orb to get a gun. At the mouth of the East Cave, I finally level out the entrance a bit. I usually do that eventually anywhere I'm likely to run back and forth a lot, then back down the cave to recover my lost gold. A skeleton gifts me with an ancient iron helmet, which is a slight upgrade and looks ridiculous. 3 deaths so far this session, and I'm finally remembering to check for traps more often. Go me! But then I mess up fighting a Shelly and a cave bat. Death number 14. Looks like my 8 gold from the earlier death isn't showing up on my map anymore, so that will make it trickier to find. But I really want it back, so straight back down I go. I head to the spot of the most recent death first, then almost get killed by a bat and slime tag team, but soon enough I'm back where I lost my gold. I disarm the trap from a safe distance and I've got my money back. And this time I immediately put it in the piggy bank. Smart. Exploring a little further down into the cave, I find my first cabin. I notice and manage to avoid the traps, only to get knocked by a bat onto an impaling jellyfish for death number 15. Back at base, I decide that my armor looks ridiculous, so I fill in the helmet and greaves with iron, no set bonus, but at least it looks decent and provides more protection to boot. Bunny. At this point, I've decided it's time to get some food buffs going, and as I'm planning on building my long-term base in these Twin Peak hills, the underground lake will be a nice fishing hole, so I adjust the surface area so that I won't get any size penalties, then I start fishing. I don't want to spend too much time doing this right now and only catch 10 bass, then head back to my starter home to cook them up. The food buffs give a variety of benefits, including defense, critical hit, and mining and movement speed. It is also needed on expert or higher difficulty levels to get full life regeneration, which obviously helps with survivability. Back down in the caves, I find another life crystal, then head back over to the cabin. I like to gather and then place the chandeliers back into the houses, and I might have some NPCs move in here to set up a future cavern pylon village at some point. I go ahead and put down a workbench so I can put in a missing door and then open the chest. Yes, some Hermes boots! That's a great piece of mobility gear that will really help for fighting the Eye of Cthulhu. A little off to the right I find a nice patch of platinum, and below it is another life crystal. There's a ton of bats swimming around, so I have to be careful, but managed to get the crystal as well as a decent amount of tungsten. Ooh, looks like this is right on top of a spider cavern, which is an important find as the stylist NPC only spawns in spider caves, and you can get some early summoner gear at the beginning of hard mode. And one of the nice things about spiders is that they are too big to fit through small passageways, making them easy to kill if you use the terrain to your advantage. I find some more platinum near a lava pool. Things are looking good. Even without a Spelunker potion, you can usually find a decent amount of treasure just sticking to the larger caverns. Exploring upwards, I find another cabin, and its chest has a band of regeneration, very nice. On the edge of the nearby mushroom biome, I see another big patch of platinum, and a bit further over is a life crystal on more tungsten. This is really proving to be a very lucrative mining expedition. And to the left of that is more platinum. Full armor set, here I come. And with that and the Hermes boots, I'm feeling pretty good about maybe taking on the Eye of Cthulhu in the near future. There's enough slimes and jellyfish around that I decide to get the platinum from below, but there's also a chest in there, so I head up and clear it all out, then get the treasure, Extractinator and a suspicious eye, and more platinum to the side. However, my inventory is pretty full and there are enough mobs in the area that I decide to bail and warp back to base, apparently forgetting to actually pick up that suspicious eye. After sorting out my inventory and storage a bit, I go ahead and use the glowing mushrooms to make some better healing potions as well as mana potions. After that trip to the caves, I've got 6 life crystals and I think to myself, what the hell, let's use them. I use 5 of them and save the 6th for a heart lantern. Since a spontaneous Eye of Cthulhu attack can happen now, I also go ahead and craft some basic combat buff potions. Regeneration, Iron Skin, and Swiftness, which I consider the bare minimum for most first-time boss fights, especially on Master Mode difficulty. I go put the extra heart lantern in the volcano, then head to the forge and anvil, and am now the proud owner of a full set of platinum armor. I'm about to go off exploring the surface, but see a gold bunny hopping by and quickly grab my bug net. These guys sell for a decent amount of coin, but can also be cooked into a top tier food item that has an amazing 48-minute duration. Not that I'm likely to live that long without dying first. Then it's off to explore. Now that I've got full platinum armor and fairly decent weapons, I really want to add a gun to my arsenal. In the East Desert, I find a nice oasis, followed by the Corruption. And how awesome is this? Down the first chasm, I find the edge of a pyramid. Ooh, I gotta see what might be in there. Looks like the top of the pyramid is quite buried in the sand, so I head down to find the treasure chamber. No traps, lots of gold on the floor, an OCD triggering bomb. Wow, 27 gold from all that, which goes right into the piggy bank. And sweet sandstorm in a bottle, which I think is the best double jump item in the game, as it has about twice the height as a cloud in the bottle with a speed boost as well. I'm feeling really good here. I check out the rest of the tunnel, but don't feel like spelunking, so I head back up after exploring the cave room just below the pyramid. Back at the surface, I hear a devourer worm. These guys can be really deadly, but man, I am loving this double jump action. Sadly, I get murdered by the devourer. Happy feelings gone, and death number 16. After respawning, I gobble some fish and head right back. This time I head down a different chasm. There's a shadow orb at the bottom, but I've got to deal with some eaters of souls first. But a few sticky bombs later, and I've got a musket. I probably should have broken another orb while I was down here, but instead head out further to the east and soon find a living tree with a few cabin rooms, one of which has a living loom, which will come in handy for future construction projects. Right next to the trees is my snow biome. There's a big patch of ice just on the border, so after grabbing some boreal wood, I start gathering the ice, which I'll need for some frostburn arrows. A little further ahead is a corrupted forest biome. I forget to grab any of the ebonwood trees and ahead a bit, mess up and double jump too early and fall to death number 17. I spend most of the night adding 2 more rows to the left side of my fighting arena, then before dawn decide to explore out to the west. There are a ton of stars on the ground, so I'll be able to increase my mana pool. A surface chest has an aglet, which has a nice 5% speed boost, but is also needed for speed boot upgrades later. A little further ahead, I discover the jungle and quickly find a few blooming moon glow. Now I'll be able to grow it and make Spelunker potions. But just as dawn arrives, I get notified that a goblin army is approaching, so I quickly warp back to base, put my grenades on my hotbar, and take cover in the bunker. My nurse gets ganked right off the bat, but otherwise the bunker is working well. The only mob I have to worry about is the sorcerers, who can shoot through walls, though their shots can be hit with any weapon. I make a tactical error though and try to use my auto swing pickaxe to hit their shots and accidentally mine out the bottom of the volcano, flooding the bunker with lava. Oops! I managed to make it out alive, but before I can get healed up, take a chaos ball to the face at close range, death number 18. The rest of the invasion is pretty uneventful. I amuse myself by dropping grenades on groups of goblins below me, trade shots with archers, and soon enough the goblins are routed. It certainly would have been easier if I hadn't ruined the volcano, but all things considered I feel it went pretty well, which goes to show the importance of a good fighting arena. Since I might get an Eye of Cthulhu attack at night, I go ahead and craft a bunch of Jester's arrows, which are useful for clearing out the servants the boss spawns during the fight, and then make a few more mana stars. I then fix my volcano and add a slanted ceiling to the bunker. Night arrives and no natural eye spawn happens. There's celebratory lanterns in the sky for having defeated the goblins, and it seems like I'm also having a meteor shower as there are a ton of enchanted night crawlers out, so I gather them up. A bit later I craft myself a platinum watch so I can know exactly what time it is, very helpful for knowing whether it's day or night when you're down in the caves. When morning arrives, I load up on construction materials, background walls, a variety of block types. I need more stone though, so I have to go underground to grab some, then warp back to base, and am greeted with the arrival of a traveling merchant who has a portable cement mixer, one of the material items needed for the Architect Gizmo pack. Now it's time to start building a proper home. I'll fast forward and skip around a lot for this part. First, I clear off the top of the left hill. I'm thinking about making a tower of some sort, but will first build my standard storage and crafting area inside the hill. I use stone slab blocks to outline the room, and then start working on the walls. Although you can't auto-replace natural walls with crafted walls, it's overall faster to do it this way than to hammer out the natural walls and then place the crafted ones. Soon the walls are done and things are looking pretty good. I plop down a table and chair and start setting up the crafting area, and Tyrone the arms dealer arrives. Sweet! Sadly, he's stuck on a hillside and I don't want to make a stairway for him, so he's probably going to get killed by slimes. Oh well, I've got the bullets I needed. I move the crafting stations over from the old house, put in some windows, and get another traveling merchant. Storage chests go in next, and yep, the arms dealer gets killed by a slime. He immediately gets replaced by the painter though, which is nice because I need some paint for the new house. I visit the traveling merchant, who amazingly has 3 items I need: 2 accessories for the cell phone and a paint sprayer, which is the second of 4 items needed for the Architect Gizmo pack. And I've got plenty of gold right now, so I buy them all. Then I start shuttling items back and forth to the new storage area, put my bed down and set my spawn point, and when night arrives I'm again not graced with a visit from the Eye. I think he's scared of me. Soon the old house is pretty well gutted out and I'm feeling pretty good about my new digs. I want to build an NPC house on the neighboring hillside, so I buy a sickle from the merchant and start gathering hay. I need some ebonwood though, so I head east to the corruption, but get pinned down by some eaters and warp back to not die. But I run straight back and this time make it to the corrupted forest and start chopping the purple trees. I go ahead and explore down a chasm. I want to smash another shadow orb, and there are several down here, but also a decent amount of lava. So I head back to the second one I found and am rewarded with a ball of hurt. Awesome, my first mace of the game and a great melee upgrade from my platinum sword. I do another fail fall and almost die, but then warp home before getting eaten. I'm planning to do the Eye of Cthulhu soon, so I go ahead and craft a bunch of tungsten bullets. Night arrives, but no eye, instead another Bloodmoon, so I just AFK again and wait for morning. Still no money trough though. The next morning I add a few more rooms to the starter home. I think I'll use this as my new NPC arrival motel. Completion of the rooms allows the arms dealer to return, and then I start working on my hilltop NPC cottage. Sadly, right about here I hit pause on the video recorder and forgot to unpause it when I started playing again. I'm sure my kids had something to do with it by distracting me. I don't remember exactly what all I did in that time other than put up the framework of the hilltop NPC cottage, and then I ran to the corruption biome to make a suspicious eye, as the Eye of Cthulhu is definitely scared of me and refusing to spawn naturally. Back at my fighting arena, I resume the recording and then buff up and start the fight. I decided to go with the mini shark as my primary weapon. With tungsten bullets and a shark tooth necklace, it does a decent job of whittling down the eye's health. And I'm totally loving the combination of my speed boots and the sandstorm in a bottle. The jumping speed boost I get really helps to get up to speed when changing directions, making grapple jumps less needed. Soon enough we're into phase 2 and I use my jester arrows to clear out the servants with a few well-placed shots. That sandstorm really helps to increase the distance from the boss, and then we go into spaz mode and soon enough the eye is down. No deaths to the first boss of For the Worthy Master mode, and I place the relic just above the volcano. I try on the shades briefly but decide I look too much like Cousin It from the Addams Family, and although I would like to use more suspicious eyes, it's a little too close to morning and I don't want to waste them. So I head back to the new house, store the ore, make a bunch of demon eye bars, and I have enough to make a demon bow, which is a nice upgrade, and then call it a day. Well, I gotta admit I'm pretty pleased with how things went for that session, which covered just over 4 hours of gameplay. I got full platinum armor, smashed some shadow orbs, survived a couple of blood moons, and mostly survived a goblin invasion. And I took down the first boss, the Eye of Cthulhu, on my first attempt. And the death count only went up from 10 to 18. Will that luck improve as time goes by, or was it just a fluke? Stay tuned for the next episode to find out. And as always, let me know down in the comments how you liked the episode, and if you enjoyed it, please let me know by hitting that like button and subscribing so you'll be notified of the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers!